Hello, good morning, welcome. Depending on when you're watching this, especially if you're in the UK, it might have just got incredibly cold. So I am going to take my slippers off to practice, but I am going to leave them on for our kind of beginning. I'll probably put them on at the end. So if you've got warm things that you want to keep with you, if you want to have a blanket over you or have a blanket nearby to use in Shavasana at the end, that might be really, really nice. And yeah, if you have got anything you can use as blocks or block substitutes, that would be lovely for today. And yeah, we will go ahead and make a start. So you can start in any position you like. Usually when I set us up, I'm in a seat, you can be lying down, you can be propped up against the wall. Or today I'm going to offer out another one and you're going to use your lovely blocks. So we're going to kind of put them on their middle setting. Everyone's neck's different with how they feel the best. You're going to place this first one kind of, there it is, sort of like in the middle of your shoulder blades. And then you go using the other one, kind of like a potentially not that comfortable pillow, but a really nice support for the head. You can also do this with a bolster. You can make a similar shape. And then we're just going to let the arms open out. Feet can be grounded, or you can extend the legs out long. See how it feels for you. Might be the one for you, might not be the one for you. You can be here or in any other position. But once you have got yourself set up today, just gently beginning to invite yourself to land into the space, onto your mat. If there are movements you want to take or keep taking that are going to allow you to settle, move as much as you like. But we take this time at the beginning so we can just start to find this kind of gentle sense of returning as we enter practice. There are loads of fabulous ways to work with presence. You might have your own. A couple of my favorites are first tuning into physical supports. So whether it's the ground under sit bones, any props you're using today, or the mat beneath you. See if you can kind of tangibly connect in with those supports, really feel them. And then let the body be held by them. And then of course we have the breath. You can start by just noticing the flow of breath in and out the body. And then if you'd like to, begin to draw your breath just a little bit deeper. Maybe just a little smoother. Or a little bit longer. Allowing the breath just to gently start to gather your attention, to gather your focus and your awareness. Gently drawing you into feeling, into practice. So if it feels okay, you can use the breath just to start to check in with yourself today. Bit of time and space just to notice any particular thoughts or feelings, physical sensations, and using the breath just to gently hold them, to witness them. This being a practice of connection, we begin by just giving ourselves the space, just to start to see what's there, holding it gently. was listening to the fabulous Jack Cornfield the other day, and he summarized the spiritual, or if you prefer, sort of mindful path as coming into tenderness, moment by moment, returning to tenderness. So approaching every moment as it comes with just a little bit more softness, gentleness, tenderness in the way you approach it. And it's kind of just like that over and over and over and over. The worldly winds, the changes, the ups and the downs, they'll still come and go. And the practice is just to keep inviting ourselves back to this tenderness. We can apply that to the physical asana. There'll be the shapes, different sensations, different emotions that might arise. And maybe today, if you like the practice within that, could just be applying these little pockets of tenderness whenever that sort of feels accessible. Okay, we're going to ease into some movement from here. So let's take a big, big inhale. If you want to sigh it out, you can sigh it out. Coming back to your steady breath, ujjayi or otherwise. Just gently begin to invite a bit of movement to the body. If you're seated, chin might drop to chest. You can start to move the neck. If you're lying down, you might start to move the fingers, the hands, the toes. Similarly, if you're seated. And just begin to invite the body into a couple stretches. Just start to find a little bit of movement and breath. As always, we're all very fabulously different, so there's no right or wrong in the way you kind of welcome yourself in, or the way you move, the way you start to feel into the body. Just a couple breaths to start to ease in. And then those of us lying down, if you were using your props, we're going to gently start to press ourselves up, place the blocks over to the side. And we're going to slowly begin to work our way to a tabletop position. If you were wearing slippers or using any layers that you don't need for practice, feel free to start to get yourself ready. And we're going to meet in our tabletop when you're ready. So, from tabletop, with the hands under the shoulders and the knees under the hips, just begin to explore any movements that feel good today. So you can kind of shift around those 4 points of contact. You can take your center of gravity forwards, back, side to side. It might feel really good to keep this movement quite exploratory this morning. Or if you did fancy something a bit more structured, we can take our more traditional cat-cow instead. Inhaling to shrug the shoulders back to lift the chest. Exhaling to dome the spine. Pressing the ground away. 2 more breaths, whether it's a cat-cow or your own movement. Could kind of be somewhere in between, a little bit of both if you like. Just movement and breath beginning to ease into one another, seeing how the body's feeling today. Really nice. Come back to neutral when you're ready. We're just going to warm the wrists a little more. Start to turn your fingers so they point towards the long edges of your mat, and begin first with just a little rock side to side. So we'll start to open into the wrists as well as start to help us with these feelings in the hands. We use the fingers a lot to balance, the hands a lot to balance in practice. So it can be really helpful to start to increase this kind of proprioception. So notice when the weight shifts hands, when it's on knuckles, thumbs, fingers, and then we're going to play with some isolations. So come to find your neutral point. We're going to see if we can lift up just the heels of the hands, then go to the knuckles, then to the fingertips, and then back down. So the knuckles ground, heels of the hands float, and down. 2 more like that. So we're heels of hands up, knuckles, fingertips, and then back down. If you stopped breathing like I did, we're going to do it and breathe at the same time. You can turn the hands back forwards, take an inhale, grip fingers. As you exhale, we're going to tuck toes and start to make our way to our first down dog of the practice. So as always, take your time to ease into this here. If there are movements you normally like or you want to start to take today, you can bend one knee then the other, maybe both. If you want to lift a leg or take a sigh, feel free to move in the way that makes sense for you. One more big inhale. Exhale. Next inhale, let's start to lift up the right leg. Take a bend in the knee and open up the hip, relax down the side of the neck. One more breath here, and we're going to think of twisting. So really let the chest open, try look under the right armpit today. One more breath. As you exhale, the foot's going to come down. We're going to inhale to ripple forward to our plank pose. You can go through your Vinyāsa, or if you're with me, we'll take the knees to the ground. As you inhale, press the ground away, look forwards. Exhale, lowers you down, elbows in. Inhale to open your chest, grip fingertips, squeeze, glutes point toes. Exhale, start to make your way back. You can go straight to down dog or explore any of the poses along the way. I always think child's pose is a really nice one to take along the way. You can come back to tabletop, any free movements there that you like. And as and when you do feel ready, we'll meet back in down dog. For our second side, it will be the left leg that lifts as you inhale. Bend the knee and open the hip, and we're really going to open into this twist today. So let the chin drop to the chest, like you're trying to look under that left armpit. One more breath. As you exhale, the foot comes down, and again, we're going to come through a Vinyāsa. So you inhale, ripple forwards, plank. Knees can be up or down. As you start to lower down, you can go the whole way down or halfway down, supported chaturanga. Inhale, open the chest, whether it's in cobra or an up dog, starting to straighten the arms and press through the tops of the feet. Your exhale is going to start to journey you back. You might be straight to down dog. You might want to pause along the way or swap your down dog out. Feel free to keep movement in your option. One more inhale and exhale. We're going to come towards the top of the mat. You can tiptoe, step or jump your way there. We're all going to meet in our Uttanasana, forward fold. Have a little bend in the knees and let the chin drop down towards the chest. First we take a bit of a dangle so arms can go heavy. You can take them to opposite elbows, hands to the back of the head if you like, and see if you can create this kind of softness in the top of the shoulders. So we're going to keep opening into the chest and twisting from here. Start to interlace the hands back behind you. Your next inhale, pull the knuckles back, lift up the chest, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale back down to fold. One more just like that with breath. Inhale, we lift. Exhale down. Now we're going to start to twist, so bend the right knee. Let's look over the left shoulder. Inhale. Exhale down. Second side, look over the right shoulder. Inhale. Exhale down, release your hands. Whole way to standing this time. Press down through your feet. Start to lift up hands. Look up towards the thumbs. Urdhva Hastasana. As you exhale, Samastitihi, hands come down through prayer. Couple breaths here. Eyes can be open or closed. Find the ground beneath your feet. Start to root down, Padabandha. Lift the top of the head. Let's shrug the shoulders up. If you want to sigh, you can sigh. So we draw the hands down. Take a moment to come back to your practice, your breath practice. And if there's an intention or a mental practice on the breath today, just coming back to that, breathing that in. Perhaps this gentle sense of tenderness in the way you breathe in the body, the way you approach the moment. Okay, we'll come into a Surya A from here. Your next inhale, let's start to sweep up the arms, look up to the hands. As you exhale, forward fold, feel free to bend the knees, Uttanasana, like you're trying to look to your belly button. Inhale, we come up halfway. Your transition, hands to the ground. You can walk, step, or jump your way back. The exhale is going to lower you down. Elbows in, knees can be up or down. Inhale, keep gripping the fingers as you drag your chest through. Exhale, down dog. See how it feels on this side, on this round even. You might want to stay in down dog. You might prefer to come back to tabletop, your child's pose, or you're always welcome to come to dolphin if you want more weight in the shoulders. You can take the elbows down. One more breath. If you left your down dog, we'll come back to it. Let's inhale, tiptoes. Bend your knees. You can walk, step, or jump to the top of the mat. Think of lifting the chest. Inhale. Exhale. Whole way to standing. Press down through your feet. Lift up your hands. Let's look up to the thumbs. This time we go straight back down. Trace the breath. Forward fold. Dive it down. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, your transition. Walking, stepping, or jumping your way back. Keep looking forwards as you lower. Inhale. And exhale. If you're staying in down dog, cues we can play with. Spread your fingertips wide. Little clawing motion in the hands, Hasta Bandha. Then focus your press in that space between the thumb and the first finger. Chin can drop to the chest and a feeling almost like the front of your thighs. We're trying to pull up into the hip sockets. One more breath. We'll inhale, tiptoes. Bend your knees, look to your hands, walking, stepping, or jumping. Inhale to lift. Exhale to fold. Last Surya A. Press down through feet, lift up hands, lift up gaze, look to hands. Straight back down as you exhale, forward fold. Dive it down. Inhale, half lift. Your vinyasa is always optional if you're working on your float. We take the hands to the ground and you roll the weight forwards before you come back to keep taking a little bit more weight into the hands. It'll also strengthen the wrists. And then making your way back to your down dog or another pose that you might like to pause in for another 3 to 4 breaths. Finding that focus, that steadiness on the breath. Just one more inhale. Exhale. Inhale, tiptoes. Look past the hands, walking, stepping, or jumping. Lift the chest. Fold it down. And this time we're going to go to a chair pose. Bend your knees, start to sweep the arms up by the ears. Holding there. Take the weight to your heels. Squeeze the biceps to the ears. And if you like, you can start to look to the hands. Open the upper back. One more breath. Surya B variation. Forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Your transition, hands to the ground. You can walk, step, or jump your way back. Your vinyasa is totally optional. However you get there. We're going to meet back in down dog. Then we're going to inhale the right leg up to the sky. Exhale, take the knee to the nose, dome the spine, trace the breath and really press the ground away. Think upper back to the ceiling. One more like that, inhale the leg high. Then we're going to work to our low lunge. So knee to nose, start to step the foot towards your hands. Once you get there, drop your back knee down, low lunge. Inhale to sweep up the arms. Then we're going to work into these twists as you exhale, that right hand draws back. See if you can get the palms to face up. Press through your grounding points. You can stay here or you can open the chest by starting to tip the angle of the arms. This one tends to stop people breathing. Try to keep breathing, one more breath. And then the hands come down to the ground. Again, you decide how you get back to down dog. It could be a vinyasa. If you fancy some movement but didn't fancy a vinyasa, sometimes a cat-cow is a nice option. And again, we'll meet back in our down dog. Second side, inhale that left leg up. Knee to nose, dome spine. Inhale the leg high. Exhale, low lunge, knee to nose, working the foot forwards. Drop the back knee down. Inhale to bring the arms up. Lift the tops of the hands. Exhale, open. Into your twist, left hand back, right hand forwards. Turn the palms up. Inhale. If you'd like to, start to tip the angle of your hands. Challenge the breath. See if you can keep it steady. Then slowly start to release. Same. Decide how you want to get back to down dog. Could be a three-legged vinyasa or a scorpion vinyasa. Could be a moment in child's pose. However you get there, we'll meet in down dog. 3 breaths, steady inhale. If you want to sigh, you can sigh. For 2. For 1. Tiptoes, bend your knees. Walking, stepping, or jumping. Inhaling. Exhaling. Hold. Now we're a little warmer. We're going to pause in our forward fold. So take your feet to hips distance apart. Hands go onto the backs of the legs. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale to fold just a little deeper. Knees can be as bent as you like. Again, think that you're trying to look to your belly button. If you want more sensation, play with straightening the legs, or hands can go to opposite elbows behind the legs, and then you're sliding the elbows down. One more breath. Slowly release. And for some of us, this is going to be a really nice place to start to use our blocks. So we've got something to place the hands down into. We're going to come into a standing splits from here. So hands can be on the ground if you prefer. I'm going to use blocks. So we're going to have the right foot grounding, and you want a little bit of space in front of your mat. So you might be able to see I don't actually have that, so I'm going to kind of turn myself around as we go. It'll make sense in a second. I'm going to switch sides of the mat so I've got a bit more space. So you're going to take hands down to the ground or to your blocks. Right foot's going to stay grounded, and we're going to inhale the left leg back, standing splits. Inhale. Exhale, think of folding like you're going forehead down towards your shin. 2 more like that. The inhale is going to lift you up. Exhale, think fold, forehead to shin. 1 more like that. Inhale, lifts. Exhale, folds. Now you can stay here. You can take 1 hand onto your ankle. You can go 2 hands towards your ankle. Or if you prefer to take weight into the hands, you can take little rocks forwards and back. Look past the fingers. Use that top leg. That will help you lift. And if you are starting to work to your press or a jump, you want to use the exhale to come up. We're all going to meet back in standing splits, and we're going to bend the left knee, take it in towards the chest, and then keep coming up to upright. Press down through the right foot. Inhale here, and now we're going to keep twisting. So we twist open to the left shoulder. If you want some support, take the toe to the ground, and we can open the arms up. Options. We can keep the arms as they are. You can take some contact points, hand to the knee or to the hip, or if you prefer, it can be hand down towards the foot. Wherever you are, we're going to focus on the right glute, and then think about opening up the chest. Lift the center of the heart. 1 more breath. If you want to challenge your balance, look to that back hand. Now from wherever you are, left hand's going to start to reach forwards. Release any binds. Left hand and left knee go back together to land us in a twisted lunge. Inhale here. Think top of the head forwards. Exhale. The feeling is sort of heart to knee as you pull the right hip back. We're going to go Shiva's twist. So this one can sometimes be a bit of a funny one to find. We're going to inhale here. And as you exhale, you're rolling onto the outsides of the feet. Drop the hips to reach the right hand back. 2 more like that. We inhale forwards. Find length. Exhale, drop the hips. Can sometimes be a nice way to say good morning. to your IT band. Inhale, exhale. Lovely, guys. Okay, start to bring it back. Okay, now we're gonna have hands again to the ground, or they can be on blocks. I'm gonna use blocks. This is where you want a bit more space in front of you, so I'm just gonna tilt to the side. You're gonna bend your back knee, then we're taking left knee into the chest. We're seeing if we can take it forwards to come towards a squat. Options there. You can take the foot to the ground. You can see if you can keep it lifted. If you feel quite stable, you can play with seeing if you can lift one hand or two hands. One more breath. And release, hands to blocks or the ground. Go back the way you came, left knee comes back. And then we step it back. This time we pause in our lizard. So both hands go to the inside of your right foot. Right foot can go a little wider, back knee can be up or down as we get into a little bit of sensation here. See what feels best. You might want to stay up high today, or you might find more sensation bringing the body down a little lower. There's loads of variations we can work with here. If you are a person that's quite naturally low down, or you want to work a variation from there, you can go towards your bind. Right hand will go under the leg, left hand goes back, and then see if you could square the chest again. Keep dropping the hips, one more breath. And we'll come back to the hands if you left them. Last one is twisted lizard. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale, draw that up and open, and then we peel up the back foot. Some of us it will be an open reach, some of us will come into a bind. Wherever you are, we think of lifting the chest. You can stay. If you wanted to keep it more active, you could see if you could float off this front hand. One more breath. If you want more sensation, keep squeezing the heel to the glute. That's for the quad. One more breath. Then we let it release. Okay, from here, take the knees back together. You can come through your Vinyāsa if you like, three-legged or otherwise. We're going to meet back in a child's pose. So as and when you feel ready, we're dropping the hips towards the heels. Any little movements to ease out the low spine if you like. And then again, options from here. I'm going to take the hands to prayer. You think about bringing the fingertips up to the ceiling. Keep going in that direction, so then you start to open into the front of the chest and the armpits, almost like your thumbs are reaching back to the base of your neck. You can stay. You can wiggle the elbows forward for more sensation and really press into them. So this is quite a nice grounded chest opener. If you prefer to keep more weight in the shoulders, if you're a person that likes to work their inversions, we can instead keep the hands as they are, take them to ground, and we come forwards towards our dolphin pose. If you're going to keep it as a chest opener, we think of the forehead going towards the big toes. If you're working your inversion, instead you're going to look in between the forearms, and we'll lift the right leg as we're on the right hand side. You can take little rocks or little tips. You're thinking of pressing down, and again the exhale is what's going to help you lift. You might be able to use your mobility like me. If there's a little less there, we're going to want a little more of a jump. So you're going to bend that back knee, and then you're thinking about like you're trying to kick the foot to the lifted leg, to the lifted knee. We're all going to release back. Come back to child's pose if you're not there already. Big inhale. Exhale. Let's sigh this one out this time. Let it go. Come back to your breath. We come back to tabletop. Last little bit on this side. Inhale the right arm up to the sky. Exhale, thread the needle. Right arm's going to come under the left, dropping the shoulder or the side of the head down to the ground. Loads of options you can work with. If you want to deepen the twist, you're kind of thinking heart to ceiling. If you want more length in it, you can start to extend the left hand forward, tuck the toes to take the left leg back. You can stay, or you can work any other balancing options, lifting limbs or reaching back for a bind. Wherever you are, see if you can deepen the breath. Maybe a steadiness, a tenderness on the breath. We're all going to make our way back to tabletop. Left hand comes back to the face if it was anywhere else. Press yourself up, right arm to the ceiling. And then take that back down. Okay, we're gonna come to our second side. So coming back to the top of the mat, you can walk, step, or jump. If you're quite enjoying your jumps and you wanna bring something in, we can see if we can take a little toe touch into this. So you're gonna tiptoes, bend your knees look just past the fingers, then see if you could tap your big toes onto one another as you come forwards. That wasn't a great demo, so I'm gonna try again. They can't all be winners. You can give it a go if you like when we forward fold. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold. We start our second side. Hands can be on the ground or be on your blocks. As we inhale the right leg back behind us, standing splits, lift the chest. Exhale to fold. 2 more inhale lifts. Exhale folds. 1 more inhale. Exhale. You can stay. You can work balancing points, a hand or two ankles. If you want to go towards your handstand hops, or just taking weight into the hands, you grip the fingers, you shift forward, you use an exhale to take the kick or the press. Inhaling, exhaling. We all meet back in our standing splits. Left foot to the ground. Right knee's going to start to come into the chest. We're going the whole way up to upright. Press down through the ground, lift up the chest, and then we start to twist. If you want some support, take the foot to the ground, opening the arms out and again turning up the hands. You can stay there. You can work your contact points. It might be hand down to the foot. 2 more breaths. This time focus on squeezing that left glute and lifting the center of your chest. 1 more breath. Start to look forwards, release any binds. Right hand and right leg go back together to land us in twisted lunge. Peel the left arm up. Think of the top of the head going forwards and let your heart almost trying to go towards your knee. 1 more breath. Then we go Shiva's twist. You start to turn to the outsides of the feet, drop down the hips. Inhale back up. 2 more like that. Exhale it back. Inhale up. Exhale it back. Okay, we come back round. This is where we're going towards that squat, so make sure you've got the space in front of you. I'm just going to shimmy back a bit this time. Hands can be on the ground or on blocks. You start to bring your right knee in and forwards. If that's feeling a little tricky, sometimes we kind of go to a squat, and you kind of step. Foot can be on the ground. You can play with lifting it, or you can play with balancing. 1 hand or 2 to the center of your chest. Then you bring it back. Hands to blocks or the ground, right leg comes back. And we go to lizard pose. Have both hands to the inside of your leg. Whether you want to use any levels, any props, back knee can be up or down. Couple breaths here. Collecting inhale. Releasing exhale. As you bound on your first side and you want to give it a go again, or you just want to give it a go on this side, be left hand under the leg, right arm back around. Think of the chest coming forwards and down. Releasing any binds. Hands to the ground. Decide how you'd like to get back to your child's pose. Could be a Vinyāsa, could be an arm balance, could be a cat-cow. We meet back, hips to heels, child's pose. Let's take a big inhale. Sigh it out. So similar options. You can come back to that variation of child's pose with the palms touching, up and back. If you prefer a different chest opener, you can come to Anahata, puppy pose. So taking the hands forwards and working on lowering the forehead. If there's more space, the chin or the chest down. Or same again. We can come back towards dolphin or pincher. This time it will be the left leg that lifts if you're lifting a leg. We're gonna press through the elbows. The left leg will lift up, inhale. And you're using the exhale to shift up, squaring the hips. Those of us that are very comfortable here will start to take a hollow back this time. So you're going to bend your knees, think of squeezing them together, dropping the hips back, counterbalance through the fingertips as you start to take the chin towards your chest. If you can start to look to the ceiling. One more breath. From wherever you are, we'll meet back in our tabletop. Any movements there? And we'll thread the needle. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Exhale to take that left hand under. Dropping the shoulder or the side of the head down to the ground. You can stay there. You can rotate the chest towards the ceiling. You can have right hand forward, left hand back. Sorry, right hand. What's it called? Right leg back if you like. You can stay or you can play with any balancing options. Last breath here. Slowly release, unravel. Come back to tabletop. This would be the moment where I realised I forgot twisted lizard. So we're going to take that left foot back forwards. Left arm will go up and back. Drop the hips. You can stay. You can peel up the back foot. You can squeeze it in. If you wanted to work a more active variation, you can float the front hand. I'm going to go for the quad release today. So I'm going to be squeezing the heel in. One more breath. Slowly we meet back. Let's again go to a resting pose of your choice. Could be child's pose or just finding somewhere that will be comfortable. So it could be a seat. You can use your blocks if you prefer. Let the jaw soften, let the brow soften. Full breath in. Full breath out. Noticing any little pockets of space in the body, little pockets of strength. And just seeing how we can keep coming back to those with the tenderness. Okay. We've got a couple last little bits before we start to wind it down. Mildly chaotically, I'd actually planned one more arm balance, which is a lot. There's options, so we'll start to explore that here. So we're going to go towards a funky variation. So we're going to have left forearm down, right hand's going to be by the elbow point. It's kind of like a little triangle, and this is going to be a diagonal. So our options, left hand down, left forearm down, right hand to the other point of the triangle. Grip your fingers and squeeze that right elbow in. We're going to find so much support there. Press through the ground. You'll feel the core and the shoulders engaged. There's so much work here. You can stay here. The options are, option 2, you can bring more weight into the shoulders by starting to lift the hips. If you want to twist, you can walk over to the right. And then for the arm balance, we're taking the knee onto the bicep as high as you can. Then you look forwards to see if you can start to peel up the back foot. They might squeeze the heels together, or you can work on lifting up the back leg kind of in a long line. But I will agree, chaos, done a lot on the shoulders. Release it if you haven't already, whichever variation. Let's come forward to a plank. Lower the whole way down to the ground. We'll take the elbows out wide, coming to our scorpion twist. Bring the right side of the ear to the ground as you take the left leg. Ah, lovely, up and over. You can stay here. Might feel really good to be here. Press down through the right hand. You can take any other variations in the arms. You can wiggle that back for a bind or self-assist. Kick the foot to your hand. Try keep the breath steady. One more here. Slowly, slowly let that release. Hands will go under the shoulders. A little bit of movement here. Take the fingertips about as wide as the mat. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, ripples down. Gonna do one more like that. Inhale, lift. Look over the left shoulder. Then we'll take ourselves back to tabletop to take our second side. So this time it's going to be right forearm down, left hand to the other side of the triangle. Think of your little 3 points. Squeeze that elbow in, press through the hands, grip fingers. So nice to stay here, feel free. I would stay here if I wasn't demoing. You can take more weight into the shoulders by lifting the hips. You can walk over to the left. You can go knee to bicep. Think of lifting the chest. Or maybe you work on peeling up the back leg. One more breath. Release it out. Okay. Come back to tabletop. Little movements. Come forwards to plank. Whole way to the ground. Cactus shape in the arms. Scorpion twist. Bend up the right leg. Roll to the left. You can stay, or you can work with any other binds, other variations. 2 more steady breaths. Slowly release. Fingertips go about as wide as the mat, or even a little wider. Press through the fingers. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale down. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, we look over the right shoulder. Inhale. Exhale down. And we're going to go straight onto lying on our backs. If you wanted to go for any other transition, you can. If you want to go back to down dog and take your jump through, feel free. If you're with me, we're going to roll ourselves over to find the ground. Once you've found the ground, we'll go for constructive rest pose for a few moments. Take the feet out nice and wide. I go about mat distance. If you're taller, it might be a little bit wider. I'm quite small. We're going to take the knees onto one another. Have the arms out nice and wide. And I always think it's really nice just to take a couple moments just to find the ground. Feel the support that comes to meet you. Notice how you can let the body soften into it. Okay, when you feel ready, we'll take the knees to the chest. Give yourself a big old squeeze. If there are movements you want to take, you can welcome in some movements here. I'm going to take us to a happy baby. Take the feet out nice and wide. Hands can go to the feet or anywhere down along the legs. Ooh. If you want to move, you can move. You can play with extending the legs or bending them a little deeper if you like. So this is technically a nice forward fold. It's just inverted. So you can stay here if it feels really good. If you feel like you wanted a deeper forward fold, we can take the soles of the feet together, kind of like Baddha Konasana. Hands go to the inside of the legs, they go to little toe side of the foot, Yogi Nidrasana. And we're kind of thinking about squeezing the heels towards your forehead and the forehead towards your heels. Most of us, that's going to look something like this. If you do happen to have very open hips, then you can kind of start to wiggle your legs behind your shoulders. Then the feet can cross, and we take the hands back around, Yogi Nidrasana. One more breath. Release that out. Take the knees for another squeeze. And we're going to do a figure 4 on either side. So right sole of the foot grounds, left ankle comes on top of the thigh. Now it might feel really nice here. You might get some lovely sensation pressing that left knee back and away. You can stay, or you can work on peeling the legs into the chest. For some of us, there'll be more sensation. Feel free to use the hands if you like. 2 steady breaths. then slowly, slowly give yourself a squeeze, switching sides. You can stay there. You can peel the legs in. See if you can let the shoulders be soft. Really nice. Now at this point in the practice is when I like to give people a bit of time to be with their body, to do their own thing. So if you feel like there are any last movements or shapes you want to make, take your time here. If you were enjoying that Yogi Nidrasana, I totally understand if you weren't, but if you were, we've now just opened the outer hips a little bit more in those figure fours, so it could be interesting to come back if you like. Wiggle, wiggle. You're thinking feet. Hands back. I'm laughing because it is one of those slightly more wild poses, some may say. Feel free to have a play around or start to come through your own sequence. If you've got an inversion you want to come to, if you want to close the twist, or if you feel completely ready, like I do, to come to Shavasana. Take your time. If there were layers you had at the beginning that you want to take for yourself to put back on, slippers, blankets, turning any lights down or anything like that, take a little bit of time here. As always, Shavasana can be any shape that you would like it to be. See what feels like a place where you can give the body some support or some rest today. Once you've found where you'd like to be, invitation to take a final couple deep sighs. Symbolizing this release of the physical parts of the practice. Each practice can become a great opportunity to come back to these principles of non-attachment. Put all of this focus, this love, this care, this dedication into the physical shapes, the asana. And then every single time, we just invite ourselves to gently let them go. Allowing them to be what they were. And giving ourselves this time to open, to soften, to rest, to feel. To perhaps keep floating back to a tenderness within us. the time you need. You'll know when you feel ready. But when you do, you can gently start to deepen the breath again. Maybe noticing the effect that deepening the breath might have on the body. And then at your own pace, just gently beginning to welcome yourself back. Whether that looks like little movements, easing into stretches, or taking the hands to the body. Just a little bit of time in your own way to welcome yourself back. Again, you'll know when you feel ready. But when you do, we're going to start to make our way towards a seat. Feel free to roll onto one side if you like and take a couple moments there. Any props or anything that will be helpful to support you once you are in seated. Take your time to get those for yourself to support the body. Once seated, we'll lift the top of the head, soften the shoulders, and we'll take the hands to prayer. What can be nice sometimes is if you gently touch the thumbs to the center of the chest, energetic heart space, and then gently lift the heart into the thumbs. Take a moment to come back to your breath. Any practice within that breath, intention or tenderness that you can return to. Coming to feel into this moment and just holding it gently. When you're ready to close, we'll take an inhale. Exhale, bows the head. Bowing to your heart, bowing to your hands. Thank yourself for this time and this space, your dedication, your practice, this support towards yourself. Take a moment of thanks for your fabulous body, the way it supports you through the physical shapes and through everything in your life. And if you'd like to, you can extend that thanks to our community, kind of floating around in cyberspace. Let's take one more inhale here. Exhale to bow the head and to close. Dry. Thank you, gorgeous people. I ended up a bit more fiery than anticipated. Well, that's how I felt. I don't know how you felt. Questions or anything, feel free to let me know. You know where to find me. If not, have a fabulous week. And yeah, I'll hopefully see you next time. Take care. Lots of love.